morning. Welcome to another episode of 4K Walks All Over. It's Saturday the 25th of July. It's a beautiful winter day here in Sydney. Not a cloud in sight. So I'm really happy to be here making another video. I think it's been about 3 months since I've actually made a video in Sydney, and I actually had a request from a channel member saying, can you please do a Megawalk please with commentary? So that's what I'm going to do today. We're going to do a long walk right through the centre of Sydney. So right now obviously we're looking at the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and right beside me another famous landmark. Of course, it's the Sydney Opera House, probably the most famous building in Australia. So today I'm going to be walking through some parts of Sydney that might be familiar to locals, but maybe unfamiliar to people not from Sydney or from other parts of the world, and also maybe a couple of places that you won't see on your typical guided tour. As you can see, it is a beautiful day. There's a little bit of a wind coming from the west, so I'm going to try and go where there's not too much wind noise, but I don't think it's going to be a big problem today. As you can see, the Opera House is built on this kind of like forecourt jutting out into Sydney Harbour opposite the Harbour Bridge. It was the result of a design competition in the 1960s, and the winning entry was by an architect called 𝗀cie𝗰𝗶𝗽𝗀, who was from Denmark. And the story goes that his entry into the competition was discarded. It wasn't even considered because it didn't follow the correct format for the drawings or some random reason like that. And then another one of the judges noticed how good the design looked and thought it had to have been included. And aren't we lucky that happened? Took about 15 years to build and went horrendously over budget, and 𝗀cie, the architect, even basically resigned off the project management because nothing was really being done the way he wanted, and it was taken over by local architects. And some of the things he did were probably going to be a bit unrealistic with the structure, and no one really even knew how it was going to be built. So you had that classic situation of an architect butting heads with engineers. And it's a little bit of a tragedy because he never returned to Australia either. He was so, what would you say, kind of disillusioned with the whole thing. Might slow down a bit, I'm walking a bit fast. So we're now on the eastern side of the Opera House, and we're looking over there over Farm Cove, and right over there with the white boat is Mrs. Macquarie's chair. I've been there on a previous walk, a couple of previous walks actually. And then past that you can see a warship, that's Garden Island Navy Base. And then moving further to the left, I'm not sure how well you can see it on the video, you'll see an island with a tower, that's called Fort Denison. And then still further across, that's the North Shore. Behind those sailboats there's Taronga Zoo and other suburbs, Mossman. I've done a walk through Mossman before. I'm going to get a close-up of the Opera House, like the actual, what do you call them, the shells. We've got to walk around and come up the steps to see it. Especially those people who haven't had the opportunity. Haven't had the opportunity to come to Sydney. You'll get a close-up view that a lot of people might not see. It's about 14 or 15 degrees and it's really nice and warm when you're out of the wind. In the breeze it's a bit cool, but this is about as cold as winters get in Sydney. It's not very cold by some standards, I guess. And so far it's been a very wet winter. This has been the first week we've had all winter where we've had a string of clear days. It's been quite a wet winter, which is one reason I haven't done so many walks locally, at least over the last couple of months. So what we might do is walk up these steps and get a closer view of the shells. You used to be able to walk through here. I don't know why they've put the barricades up, for security I suppose. So the way the Opera House works, it's got two main auditoriums, being a concert hall and an opera theatre. So I'm going to have to step back a little bit to give you a better view. We'll come back down here. So, as I was saying, there's two main auditoriums. There's a concert hall and an opera theatre. I'll just get away from these people. Don't know what they're doing. The noise might be a bit distracting. And this is a better view as well, even though we're looking straight into the sun. So on the left-hand side, essentially, we have the concert hall, and then over here on the right-hand side, we have the opera theatre. But when you're in those auditoriums, you don't really see the interior of the shell so much. That's almost just kind of like more for appearances from the outside of the building, because these auditoriums actually go below us, probably right down to water level, I'd say. And then there's a third smaller shell here that just contains a restaurant, mainly a really fancy restaurant called Binaural. We can come up here and have a close look, actually. So in here you can see it's a restaurant, and then when you're in these lobby spaces you can see the interior of the shells, but when you're in the actual auditoriums themselves, you don't see that. Obviously it's got a lot of acoustic treatments and that kind of thing. Now the interesting thing about the Opera House is the main entrance is directly under where I'm standing now, under these stairs, and then you enter the auditoriums around the sides inside these shells. So it's almost like you've got an auditorium inside a shell, and then you walk around the gap between the auditorium and the shell, if that makes sense. So this is I guess you'd say this is probably a secondary entrance. Obviously this is not the main entrance, but it looks like we've got a guided tour or something here. And if I get rid of that, try and get rid of that reflection on the glass, maybe from somewhere else, in here. Maybe. I hope you can see that. You can see we're inside the shell, but behind that timber panelling, if you can see that, is the actual auditorium itself. And then these stairs in front of me here, they come up from the main entrance underneath. We'll just take another look around this side, and then we'll go back down the stairs and I'll show you what's underneath. But before we do, this is very interesting, I think, anyway. Let's take a close look at the actual tiles on the shell. Now, I'm not sure exactly how many there are. It would have to be millions. But I do know that they were all laid by hand, and when I was a kid, one of my friends, his father was a tiler, and he came from Albania, and one of the first jobs he worked on actually was putting the tiles on the roof of the Opera House. And if you look closely, there's two firstly they're glazed, and there's two slightly different colours. There's a white and an off-white. These square tiles are the white tiles, and then the off-white tiles are the triangular tiles. And then if I can get on an angle, you'll see that the white tiles actually have a gloss finish, and the off-white tiles have a matte finish. Which means when you come back, you do get a very subtle pattern on the tiles. Another piece of trivia: if you take all these shells and put them together, they'll form a sphere. I think they form a complete sphere. So the actual surface is spherical. Okay, we'll just have another quick look over here. This is the Opera Theatre side of the building. I wonder if we can actually go in these doors. No. We'll just take a quick look in here. Again, it's a similar setup. We've got the foyer under the shell. It's just you can just see the plain concrete. I love the way that looks, actually. And then the actual Opera Theatre itself is inside that timber. See if I can reduce the reflection for you. Inside the timber structure. Okay. So 𝗀്છi's design for the Opera House was one of the few that actually had the main auditorium side by side. Most of the entries, as far as I'm aware, had them, now side by side is east and west, most of them had them arranged north and south, one facing the water and one facing the city. So this was a little bit unusual. It's possible some land actually had to be reclaimed sideways to fit the building in. I'm not sure on that, but it wouldn't surprise me. Okay, we'll take a quick look underneath these. We'll go back this way. We'll take a quick look underneath these stairs so that you can see what I was talking about the main entrance. And then we'll continue on our walk further along into Sydney. Now, believe it or not, this is the main entrance part of the Opera House. And the idea is the steps form a covered area where back in the day, you would have come in here in a car or a limousine or something and gotten out, but it's been a plaza for as long like a public pedestrian plaza for as long as I can ever remember. So the actual entrance of the building is very unassuming, which is kind of cool because the idea is it starts off, as I said, very unassuming and plain, and then the building reveals itself as you climb into it, and it just gets better and better and better. And the really cool thing is that, say you're in the wanting to watch something in the concert hall. Speaking of which, so a lot of the entry doors into the auditorium are snake around the sides, so you're in this kind of I guess corridor that's between the auditorium, but it's on one side you've got glass wall overlooking the view towards the Opera House on this side. I might post some photos of what I'm talking about. I've got a couple on file that I'll just put into the video here so you can understand what I mean. Okay, so let's go further down. So this concourse area that we're walking into now kind of snakes around the forecourt of the Opera House along the waterfront, and there's a load of bars and restaurants and things. So one of the places along here, Opera Bar, is one of the most popular bars in Sydney, I guess, mainly for its location, more than anything else. Okay, now we're on the eastern side of, the western side of the Opera House. We're looking over Circular Quay, which is the main, well actually the area of water is called Sydney Cove, and then where the ferry terminal is up that end, that's Circular Quay. Don't ask me why it's called Circular Quay, I have no idea. And then on the opposite side is the cruise liner terminal, and then you come around obviously to the Opera House. Sorry, that's not the Opera House, the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So it's only still not even 11 o'clock this morning, so there's not much open here at the moment, but come 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock this evening, it's still pretty well packed out. Now we're going to go up these steps back to ground level, I suppose you'd call it. So there's a bit of an iconic view. If you're a tourist, this is probably one of the first things you do on arrival in Sydney, I guess. Come here. Alright, we're on the Opera House forecourt. This is, as I said, this is all pedestrian plaza now, but back in the day I think you could just drive right up. Hard to believe. Before the Opera House was built, this area here it only probably went as far as the steps, or maybe a little bit further. Was a tram depot, believe it or not, way before my day. But if you look at old photographs of Sydney, you'll see pictures of it, and it was a pretty ugly ass building, I can say that for sure. Okay, next we're going to go up these steps. Up those steps into the Domain, or Botanical Gardens. I'm not sure if it's the Domain or Botanical Gardens there. Actually, I'll tell you, I've changed my mind. We're going to continue walking this way through these gates, which will take us into the Botanical Gardens, and then we'll turn back and get another view. We'll get another view from on top of that cliff there. Sorry if this is taking too long around here, but it is an interesting thing. Maybe from now on it'll be a bit more of a regular kind of a walk. Probably racked up 1,000 or 2,000 steps just looking at the Opera House. Okay, these gates lead us into Sydney Botanic Gardens. If you ever come to Sydney, highly recommend you taking a look at these. I love it. I love coming in here, and especially on a day like today, but even on a bad weather day, it's always fun to come in here. The water looks nice and clean today. You can see, a lot of seaweed. I can't see any fish.
That's the pocket. Look at that. Yeah, that's mad.
Now is probably a good time to once again say thank you for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers for subscribing. And if you're not a subscriber, please consider pressing that button. It does mean a lot. And if you really like this stuff and wish to support the channel, I have options for memberships as well. But mainly, I'm just very grateful that you watch. That's the most important thing.
But
Okay, today, as nice as it is here, it's not going to be entirely a walk through the garden. So the next place that I can hang a right-hand turn, I will do so. Being right in the middle of winter, there's not too many flowers out at the moment, but as you can see, most trees in Sydney don't lose their leaves in winter, so it's still nice and green. One of my favourite things about the parks in Sydney is the fig trees. If I'm not mistaken, these are called Port Jackson figs. And if you didn't know, Port Jackson is the actual official name for Sydney Harbour. Everyone calls it Sydney Harbour. I don't know anybody who says, oh, we went on a ferry across Port Jackson. I don't think that's ever been said in the history of Sydney. So we're walking back towards the Opera House at that, on top of that cliff you could see before from the forecourt. Those steps that I could have taken up from the forecourt are called, for some reason, I don't know why, they're called the 𝗙cie𝗰𝗶𝗽𝗀 steps. Whoops, we're not there yet, gotta go up here, but you'll see what I mean. They're called the 𝗙cie𝗰𝗶𝗽𝗀 steps, named after the 𝗙cie𝗰𝗃 cliff in Rome, which was where people who were sentenced to death got chucked over the 𝗙cie𝗰𝗃 cliff, I should say. And then here, it's a little bit hard to see, but that old sandstone building in front of us, that's New South Wales Government House, where the Governor of New South Wales lives. yeah, we follow this way to get to the top of those steps. And from up here is one of my favourite views in Sydney. I'm not sure if you've seen the video. It's something a little bit different to than the others I've made on this channel. It's my wife and I, we're doing a kind of like a mystery tour where we have to visit various places and pick up clues that take us to the next place, and by the end you're loaded up with all the ingredients for a picnic lunch. And the final destination was pretty much around here. So yeah, I just think this is one of the most iconic views in Sydney, and you actually do get a good sense of the layout from the Opera House here as well. We'll go over the spiky fence. Yeah, so we're in the City Botanic Gardens, and these pretty much fill out the main public land to one side of Sydney Cove and the city. We'll go through here for a little while, then we'll come back down into Circular Quay. We actually had our picnic lunch right about just in the shade under that fig tree there. Oh, and it was a bloody hot day as well, I remember that. A bit different today, that's for sure. As you can see, these fig trees, the actual spread on them is pretty massive. And if you like climbing trees, they're probably about the best trees you can find to climb. So we're coming up on Macquarie Street, which is the road that leads right down to the Opera House forecourt. We're going to cross Macquarie Street and then go down some steps down to Circular Quay. So Circular Quay is the hub for all of Sydney's ferries. From here you can catch ferries in one direction all the way to Manly. And if you've been following this channel, you'll know that I've done a stack of videos around Manly, and in the other direction you can go as far as Parramatta, which is probably 25-30 kilometres from here up the other direction. And there are ferry routes that cover all the areas of Sydney Harbour, or should I say Port Jackson, in between as well. Not only is there a ferry terminal, there's also a railway station, which is, you can hear the train pulling in now. I'm not sure if you can see it. There's a railway station up there, and then on top of the railway lines there's actually a road. If you come across come south across the Sydney Harbour Bridge and want to go towards Bondi Beach, you'll turn left and go you'll go along this roadway up there, elevated roadway. I don't think I'm going to get a copyright strike from this guy's music, so we'll just take a quick look at him.
I've only been playing for 1 week. Had a decade or so. Is it anyone's first time here? If it is, welcome to Perth.
It's not Perth.
I just play. Most of my cousins here, they take the microphone off me.
Okay, let's continue on. We'll just take a quick look at one of these ferries, and then we'll pass through the railway station. Yeah, that's a good view. We've got a view of the bridge and 2 Sydney ferries. So the right hand side, we've got a ferry called 𝗙gie𝗰𝗶𝗽𝗀. I can tell you that's one of the Manly ferries. That just goes backwards and forwards between Sydney, Circular Quay and Manly, and then on the left hand side there's a smaller ferry called Friendship. They're the ones that you'd catch to some of the other destinations. And then if you want to go all the way to Parramatta, they got a different sort of ferry again. One of these ones over here. So these two would be on the route up to Parramatta, and the reason they're low is that they have to actually pass under some bridges. Obviously they wouldn't fit if they were using one of the big ferries. Okay, so here we have Circular Quay railway station, and we'll just pass under here and you can have a quick look through there. So the ticket gates are here, and then you go up the stairs or the escalators or the lift up to the platforms. Now on the other side of Circular Quay railway station we have another famous Sydney building. This one right here, it's called Customs House. Back in the day, this is where the ships would have registered all their imports and exports and all that kind of thing. Back before most international freight was on, the big ships with the containers, back in the sailing ship era. And then on the left hand side of Customs House here, another famous building, this one here. famous art in architectural circles anyway, maybe not famous like the Opera House or the Harbour Bridge, but this building here, AMP, an insurance company. One of the very first skyscrapers, as they used to be called back in the day. This was being built in the 1950s, I believe. And as a design, I still think it holds up today. I think it is a superb building. We'll just take a closer look. I think when this was built, it was actually the tallest building in Sydney. Now it wouldn't even be in the top 30. And then just in the last few years, directly behind there's a new AMP building. This one's the old one. The building directly behind, I'll get a better view from over here. There, that building with the overhang, and then the triangular part jutting out at the top. That's the new AMP building. That's Bjarne Ingels is the architect for that. If anybody knows modern architecture, you may have heard of contemporary architecture, I should say. You'll know who Bjarne Ingels is. One of the so-called star architects, rock star architect. We'll see how that building stands up over 50 or 60 years, I guess. Now we'll take a detour back behind Customs House, back into the old lanes. So let's see if we can come in, actually, if they'll allow us. It is open. Now the reason I'm taking you in here is there's something really interesting, I think. Here is a scale model of Sydney. So you can see where we started on the Opera House there, trying to ignore the reflections, and then we walked over here and then through the botanical gardens and across here, and I don't think you can see, but we're just over that bit. We'll go like this so we can see the city there a bit easier. And there's the Opera House. Sorry. There's the Sydney Harbour Bridge. I don't know why I'm calling the bridge the Opera House today. Anyway, back some time ago when I was at university doing my architecture degree, we had to build a model of Sydney like this. Not quite as big, as in not quite as big an area It was pretty much from Circular Quay back through to Hyde Park area. And we had a project which was a building right in the centre of all that, and we just had a hole in the site to insert our own design models into. Anyway, I hope you could see that model behind the glass. I know the reflections were a bit tricky there. Oh geez, that pizza smells good. I haven't eaten yet today. So we're now entering the actual CBD part of Sydney. That's what we call them in Australia, CBD meaning Central Business District. Do you call it the CBD in your country? So Sydney, kind of like, a little bit like New York. It's got, obviously it's not as big as New York, but it's got an upper end and a lower end, and if you call the area around Circular Quay the lower end, this is sort of the business end, so you'll see have lots of finance, banks, a lot of government buildings as well down this end, and then the upper end is more the shopping district. So you can see, get a good view of the Bjarne Ingels building there, and then the old AMP tower over there. Where we're standing now is called Macquarie Place. You might notice I've crossed Macquarie Street already. Macquarie is named after Governor Macquarie, one of the early governors of New South Wales. It's also Macquarie Bank, Macquarie River, Macquarie this, Port Macquarie, lots of Macquaries. And the thing about Macquarie Place, apart from having Sydney's famous bin chicken, one-legged bin chicken, or you're just standing on one leg. The thing about Macquarie Place is it has this obelisk, and this is the place where road distances are measured from in New South Wales anyway. So, principal roads, distance from Sydney to Bathurst, 137 miles. From Sydney to Windsor, 35.5 miles, etc, etc. Continue through Macquarie Place. And the next street we hit is called Bridge Street. Now all these old sandstone buildings around Bridge Street, most of them you'll find are government department buildings. So, excuse me, I'm not sure exactly what that one is, but you'll have things like the education department, roads department, all those sort of things are around here. Now Bridge Street, surprise, surprise, is called Bridge Street because it had a bridge over the original stream that ran into Sydney Cove, original water source when Europeans first arrived in 1788. And you can imagine back in those days it just would have been probably a trickle of water, maybe with some boulders and things around it, and I guess it wasn't a very reliable source of water. It was the only water they had for a long time. And the bridge would have been right about here on this crossing, because this is, you'll see, this is the lowest point. From up there, comes down, and then it goes up. So we're on Pitt Street now, and Pitt Street pretty much follows the line of the old stream, which is called the Tank Stream. I think called the Tank Stream because yeah, it was the main water source, and they built tanks into it for water storage. These days it's still there, believe it or not, but it's basically just a stormwater drain. We're now walking south along Pitt Street, and I'm going to show you something that'll won't look interesting, but I think it's interesting. So, as I was saying, we had the Tank Stream as the original water source of Sydney, turned into a stormwater drain mainly. But up until, not sure if you can do them now, but up until fairly recently, you could actually do guided tours of the Tank Stream. And you wonder, how on earth do you get yourself into a stormwater drain around here? Believe it or not, if you want to get into the Tank Stream, oh, there's actually a plaque. Here we go. Maybe if you're really interested, you can pause the video here. Yeah, so you used to be able to do guided tours. I think you have to put on your hazmat gear. But you came down here, and yep, in there. Just now, it just smells like urine now, to be honest. Okay, let's continue on. We'll come up here now. The plaza I'm in now is called Australia Square. It's another one of Sydney's most famous high rises. This tower is, despite being circular, the name of this tower is Australia Square. It looks a bit desolate here on a winter Saturday morning, but it's actually pretty busy in summer. So the actual development is the tower in front of us, then this plaza here, and this office building here as well. Now that office building in front is not super interesting. I guess the pilates at the ground level are a little bit interesting, but this tower over here really is kind of a masterpiece, actually. They even got the doors open on a Saturday, which is unusual. It's just a regular office building. So just everything about this I really love. I love these massive panes of glass, and you can see these mullions here, how they start tapered and then they get wider towards the middle, and then they taper off again at the top, because that's the pattern of the load bearing required when the wind blows against the glass. And then above that you have this amazing concrete ribbed floor plate. And then you look on the inside, it's just so kind of pure, I guess. It's completely circular lobby, circular lifts, circular light fittings in a circular building. And I believe the actual mural is, or painting I should say, not really a mural, which wraps around the whole building, is John Olsen, famous Australian painter, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, one of my favourite buildings in Sydney, this one. By a moderately famous architect, Harry Seidler. There's quite a few Harry Seidler buildings in Sydney. So we are now going to hit the next main street, which is George Street. I suppose you'd say George Street is the main street of Sydney. It's the biggest, and these days it's the biggest street, and these days it's been closed to most traffic, and there's now the route of the light rail, as you can see here. The light rail starts down at Circular Quay and goes all the way to Central Railway Station, and then continues on down into, if you know Sydney, down towards Randwick and those sort of suburbs down there. And there's also a line that goes to the inner west as well, past Pyrmont, Fish Market, past Glebe. I think it goes as far as 𝗙𝗪𝗀𝗃. So here's the light rail. Yeah, so as you can see, there's a few people here, but it's not super busy. On weekdays, yeah, there's probably twice as many people here easily. Now we're coming up to a major railway station on our right hand side. This is Wynyard railway station. T means trains. Surprise, surprise. So Wynyard Railway Station is the first station you'd come to after crossing the Harbour Bridge on the train, and it's an underground station, and you can change trains here for the City Circle line, which is the line which 𝗀cie𝗰𝗶𝗀𝗀 railway station is on. It also goes through Museum Station and Martin Place. Anyway, let's take a look in Wynyard. Now the thing about Wynyard is, across the road on George Street, under construction, is another metro station. So Wynyard will also have a metro station. And the cool thing is you'll be able to walk underground all the way from Wynyard, where we are now, Wynyard Station, through the metro part into an underground passage that'll take you all the way to Martin Place, completely underground. It'll be maybe about 600 or 700 metres, I guess. So I was recently in Japan, and especially in Tokyo. If anyone knows the railway stations in Tokyo, they just go on and on and on and on and on underground. It's like a subterranean city. So Sydney's a little bit like that, obviously not to the same degree though. So I'll just show you the entrance gates of Wynyard Station, then we'll go back up to ground level. So Wynyard has two levels of trains. There's an upper level where the trains which come off the Harbour Bridge come, and then that's below us, and then below that again there's another level where the City Circle line runs. Okay. Yeah, you can imagine 8:30 in the morning on a weekday, this place is pretty busy. Now we'll walk back up and I'll show you what's up here. I think we'll come through here. So we're now in Wynyard Park, and Wynyard Station pretty much follows the footprint of Wynyard Park. I'm not sure if there was a park here before the station. I'm not quite sure of that history. Okay. Again, obviously, we can see here more of these fig trees. Pretty much the go-to trees for parks in Sydney for a long time. So I'm going to next walk back to George Street, and then we'll continue south on this Megawalk. So that tower you can see there, believe it or not, that used to be the tallest building in Sydney, I guess, counting the tower. And that was the tallest building until the AMP building, which I showed you earlier, was constructed in the 1950s. Okay. Now we're back at George Street, and directly in front of us now is another famous plaza of Sydney. This is called Martin Place. So just to recap, we have George Street, Circular Quay in the distance in that direction, and Martin Place. And you'd say Martin Place is just about, once this tram goes past, yeah, you'd say Martin Place is kind of the heart of the CBD of Sydney, and then further along in that direction is more the shopping district of Sydney, and the retail and all that kind of thing. So let's take a quick look at Martin Place now. The building on the right hand side is Sydney GPO, General Post Office. It's now not a post office anymore, it's now a hotel. And here we have the War Cenotaph, where every 25th of April we have our Anzac Day ceremony. If you're not familiar, Anzac Day commemorates soldiers who've fought in wars. Like every country has its own type of Anzac Day. What do you call it in the United States? Is it Veterans Day, Anzac Day? Let me know if I've got it wrong. And Martin Place continues up there all the way back up to Macquarie Street. So where should we go now? Let's follow, we're back at Pitt Street, so let's follow Pitt Street southwards. I'm starting to get really hungry, so in the not too distant future there might be a magical gap in the video where I recharge my stomach battery and I also recharge the camera battery. We're now coming up to King Street. As I said, we're now entering the heart of the shopping district of Sydney, and this little area around where we're standing now, and then further up you'll find all the fancy brands. We've got 𝗀cie𝗰𝗶𝗀𝗀 here. If you want your Rolex, I think the store to get your Rolex is further up here. A few different watch stores. I think there's a Louis Vuitton up there. All that kind of thing. I don't think we're going to show you that. That's kind of the same as you'll see in any city of the world, really, isn't it? A Louis Vuitton. Now right in front of us is Pitt St Mall. Now I really want to walk up here, but the problem is I've got a busker and he's playing a Coldplay song, and if I walk any closer I'm going to get a copyright ping, which means that I've got to edit the video, and it's just it's not much fun. So what I might do is walk back to George Street so I don't get that music. And then we'll walk through, the Strand Arcade, back to Pitt St Mall, and hopefully walking through there, I won't get so much of the music.
Did you eat milk?
Whoa! Slow down, bird. He was coming out of the driveway a bit fast there. Ah, I was wrong. The Louis Vuitton store is over there. So there you go. I am showing you Louis Vuitton. And there's a Cartier store across the road as well. So we're back in George Street, heading south. As you can see, there's a few more people here than there was down back in the area, back down towards 𝗀cie𝗰𝗶𝗀𝗀. So here we have the Strand Arcade, built 1891. These are the this is one of the original shopping malls of Sydney in the 19th century. You can imagine people walking along here in their fine three-piece suit or long dresses and hats and all that kind of thing back in the day. We'll just take a quick stop here so you can see it's actually 3 levels with a glass roof, and there's shops at each level, obviously.
¿Tiene la misma?
And it comes all the way through back to Pitt Street, which is now this section of Pitt Street is the Pitt St Mall. So it looks like, or I should say sounds like, the music is finished, which kind of makes me happy. And this is, yeah, you'd say the Pitt St Mall is the main shopping hub of the city of Sydney. I was recently in Adelaide, and the Rundle Street Mall is a similar concept, and you got, I think Bourke Street's got a mall in part of it as well. So all the Queen Street in Brisbane, all the big Australian cities have got the similar idea of a pedestrian mall in the heart of the retail area. Okay, at this point you're going to see a magical transition where I'm going to actually just finish this video for a section, go and recharge my batteries, and it'll magically restart at this position right now. Okay, back to it. I've recharged my stomach and recharged my camera. I'll put up a photo right now of what I had for lunch. It was kind of like a noodles and dumplings and some fried prawns as well. Not too bad. Only thing is the noodles had 𝗙cie𝗰𝗶𝗀𝗀 in it, so I'm not a huge fan of that. It kind of just makes everything taste weird, and I don't really have much feeling left in my on my tongue at the moment. So hopefully it won't affect my speech. Anyway, we continue southwards along Pitt St Mall. Yeah, I had lunch in like kind of on the 5th floor of the Westfield. It's sort of a food court. A little bit better than your normal shopping centre food court, I suppose. What we might do here now is descend again underground down here. This will take us all the way to the Queen Victoria building. So we're now on the basement level of the Queen Victoria building. So this building's been in quite a few other videos I've made. I'll go up to the ground floor so you get a better view. This is one of Sydney's most historic shopping centres. I'm not sure how old the building is. I'd say it was the 1880s or 1870s that it was built. And originally it was a market building for farmers and that kind of thing. And for many, many years it was derelict, and there were plans to knock it down and replace it with something. I'm not quite sure. But in the 1980s, I think, it was restored, and it's now one of Sydney's most famous shopping centres. What we'll do is we'll go up to the very top level, walk along there, and then descend back down to the bottom. So you can see there's 4 floors in total of retail. And a similar concept to the Strand Arcade, but a whole lot bigger, in the sense that we've got a glazed roof to let the light in, because obviously in the 19th century artificial lighting was a lot more difficult. And then each floor is based around a kind of an atrium kind of structure, I guess you'd call it. And it's got this crazy clock. I'm not quite sure how this thing actually works. It's not showing the correct time. And I don't think the calendar part at the top works either. I think they're the escalators that we came up. Now we're under the central dome, which you can see from the outside of the building. It's funny because it's got a glass on the interior, but the exterior is copper, I believe. So there's obviously 2 layers with lighting behind the glass. And then there's got this really interesting spiral staircase, which I guess is for maintenance to get up into the dome there. No public access, I'm afraid. Got another clock, but it's not giving us the correct time either. Out of interest, it's 20 past 1 in the afternoon. Not 20 to 11 in the morning or whatever that's trying to tell us. Okay, we'll just... I think we'll take these stairs down to the ground floor and then we'll continue right down again, down to the basement and head through to Town Hall Station. The stained glass is pretty special here, I think.
It's such a cool room.
So we've just left the Queen Victoria building. Obviously we're still under the street level and we're heading south. Now we're entering the area which basically turns into Town Hall railway station. I guess you'd say we're under streets, like under Bathurst Street, I think. Yeah, somewhere like that. So as I was saying, yeah, Sydney does have quite a network of underground passageways, but certainly nothing to the extent of what you see in Japan, that's for sure. So, Town Hall Station, and if we walk up there it takes us to the Galeries, which we will have a look at after I've been through Town Hall Station. So I think Town Hall is actually after Central Station. I think Town Hall is the busiest station on the Sydney network. Like Wynyard Station, it's got 2 levels of tracks. We're on the top, then 1 level of platforms, and then another level below that.
Even if the gates are open.
So I think we'll climb up these stairs here. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, certainly wasn't expecting that, but there you go. So now we're looking at Sydney Town Hall, and we cross here. crossing George Street here, and this is pretty much where we were walking before, except underground, and we're looking back at the Queen Victoria building there. There's a statue of Her Majesty right there. Queen Victoria building. Okay, we'll cross George Street, have a quick look at the Galeries, which is the shopping centre across the road here. I didn't realise that 𝗙cie𝗰𝗶𝗽𝗀s was still a thing. They looked very metro to me. They didn't look like the real sort of, I don't know, orange coloured robes kind of 𝗙cie𝗰𝗃𝗍s. So this is just another typical shopping centre, I guess you'd say. I think it's a little bit boring personally. There's nothing here I really like to see. There is a 𝗀cie𝗰𝗶𝗃 bookshop on the second floor. If you like books, I guess that's a good thing. I like books. But I don't think I've actually ever been into any other store here except for the 𝗀cie𝗰𝗃𝗃. Okay, we've come up to Park Street. I think I'll turn left here, which is east. And this will take us past the Gadigal metro station. Several videos I've commenced or finished at this station. And we'll walk past there and take a quick look at Hyde Park. It looks like this is close to me. Well, yeah, it doesn't look very open. I had no idea when I was coming into the city. Sometimes I do catch the metro, but I didn't even check, so there you go. Metro, do not run. Testing is underway for the Southwest Metro. Oh. Okay. Well, that's quite good. Quite good for me, I guess. Because I would have probably got on the metro at Chatswood. But I wouldn't have been able to, so I would have caught the regular train, which is what I ended up doing anyway. This is Castlereagh Street, then it's Elizabeth Street after this. Okay, this is Elizabeth Street. Now across the road we've got Hyde Park. Now it looks to me like that side of Hyde Park is closed off. So I'll do a quick change of plan. I think what we might do instead is we'll walk up that side of Hyde Park right through to in front of St Mary's Cathedral. That's what we'll do. Few people in here in the park trying to get some beautiful afternoon winter sunlight. You don't really get that much with the tall buildings. So when you're in the sun, it's absolutely beautiful. Probably about 17 or 18 degrees now, I think.
projects. They would be. They're enjoying it too much.
Looks like there's something going on down there. I won't go any further because there's some music playing. It looks like it's a demonstration, a protest. I'm not sure what that is. That's as far as I'll go there. And we'll turn back this way. We'll have a look at the cathedral and then head back southwards. This might be this might end up being the longest video I've ever made for this channel. First half before lunch was about 90 minutes. We'll see. I don't know what's going on over there. There's a lot of people dressed in black, but I don't think it's a funeral. Anyway, so that was St Mary's Cathedral, Catholic Cathedral, and we're on College Street now. We'll walk back across the street here. Normally in front of us right now there's a plaza you can walk in, but I don't know what's going on there either. Looks like a temporary stage or something. As you can see, there's a lot of bird poop on this. I'm standing in the middle of it. I guess that's the seagulls doing that. I wonder why they like this particular spot to poop upon. Is it because it's in the middle and they're less likely to get disturbed by people or something? Who knows? So we're now crossing William Street. If we look to our left, in the distance, you should be able to see the big Coca-Cola sign. That's at King's Cross. That's actually where I did one of my most recent videos in Sydney. Down there. And then we've got the Australian Museum here. And after that, I think it's is it Sydney Boys High School coming up on the left-hand side? I'm not 100% sure. It's a school, I am sure of that. Here we are. Sydney Grammar School, sorry. I'm getting mixed up. Not sure if you can read that, but that says Sydney Grammar School. (1882) according to the plaque up there. Okay, let's cross. Looks like this part of Hyde Park is open. Yeah, I don't know the reason why this is Hyde Park and if it's got any relationship to Hyde Park in London. If someone knows the history. Okay, coming up in front of us now, it's the War Memorial. A little bit like the Shrine of Remembrance down in Melbourne, I think. Not as big, not by a long shot. I don't think we'll go in there today. You can go in, and there's a basement level which has got a whole lot of interesting things to see there as well. And there's a reflection pool here. Just take a quick look at this section here. It's got some cascading waterfalls by the looks of things. So I've got a tip for people who like to drive into the city. We're looking at Liverpool Street now, and in this building directly in front of us, the basement of that building is actually a Wilson car park, and it's got the cheapest parking in Sydney as far as I can tell. And central location. The only downside is it's a crazy layout with random columns and walls and things. So if you've got a big car, it's probably not suitable. But if you do want cheap parking in the city, there's a Wilson car park under that building. We're now heading back west along Liverpool Street, and we've got Museum Station coming up on our right hand side. It's a fairly long way from the museum. I would have called it Liverpool Street Station, like on the Monopoly board, but anyway, I'm not sure if there's an actual entrance closer to the actual museum or not. Okay, we're coming into Liverpool Street now. Oops. I thought that was us for a sec there. And this area of Sydney is sort of turning into a little of a mini Koreatown. There's a load of Korean restaurants just in this area, and then a little bit further down the hill it's a mini Thai town as well. If you like Korean food, there's heaps of places you can get a good meal these days now. Oh, that's a shame. I was just talking about Korean places. Well, this place was good. This must be going to be redeveloped because there's three restaurants in a row and they're all shut. I was going to show you this one. Final day of operation, June the 23rd. 2 days ago. Oh no, a month and 2 days ago, sorry. Oh. Yep, I'm guessing this is going to be knocked down and something's going to be built. Thank you for your amazing support over the years. Today is our last day to serve you. See you at 174 Enmore Road, Enmore, Newtown. Wow. I wonder what's going to go there. Is this place shut down as well? Must be the whole block. Yep. You can't see anything in there. Well, you can now. Wow. Oh, there's a sign over there. Can you see it? Koreatown. Well, I just think this whole area here is really Koreatown. Okay, let's cross Liverpool Street here. And we've got another shopping centre across the road from us now. Always feels like these pedestrian crossings take forever. Let's go. So this shopping centre we're entering now is called World Square. Again, it's not really one where I really go and buy stuff at very much. I've never understood this sculpture coming up here unless you like bull's balls. There's a good picture of bull's balls here. Bull's balls. Yeah, don't know what that's all about. Geez, it looks like there's a whole lot of building work going on here as well. Building work everywhere. Oh, guess we'll go this way. Oh, this is a little bit disappointing because this is actually like normally a plaza, but it's all closed in. I wonder what's going on there. Anyway, we'll continue on.
This is narrow corridor. And I saw that was to say 900. And just the way that she like expressed emotion, I just automatically
And we shall re-emerge in George Street.
fancy way of saying
So we're now kind of at the, I guess you'd say this is sort of the nightlife area of the central Sydney. Not really. It's not like there's a one single district that's the definite nightlife area, but this is where we're standing now would definitely be the busiest from after say 6 p.m. to midnight or something, I suppose. Lots of restaurants, lots of bars, that kind of thing. I think in Sydney most people tend to go to their own particular place that might be in Parramatta or Chatswood or Bankstown, wherever. It's such a big city geographically that if you live on the south side of Sydney, it might take you an hour and a half to get to the north side of the city. So a lot of people hang out in their own local area, I suppose. We're kind of coming downhill again now. Town Hall is sort of at the top of the hill, and as we move south we'll go downhill from there. Now we're almost in the area of Sydney called Haymarket, and Haymarket kind of blends in with Chinatown in Sydney, so let's turn off this direction and we'll have a look at Chinatown. And you might very well be underwhelmed because Chinatown now is, especially since COVID, Chinatown is a total shadow of itself, what it used to be like. So this is this street here is Sussex Street, and Sussex Street continues right down there, and then this side is, forgotten the name of the street, to be honest. Can anyone help me out here? Goulburn Street, I think it is. Let's have a look. If I can find a street sign. Yep, Goulburn Street. Okay. Now we're coming to the top end of Dixon Street, which is the traditional main street of Sydney's Chinatown. And as you'll see, there is a lot of closed down businesses, restaurants. It's a bit depressing, to be quite honest. They still have things going on here at night. But Sydney's now just got so much more diversity and places to go, especially for Asian food. Even just a couple of 100 metres away, there's a whole new section. Right down there, there's a whole new section that didn't exist 5 years ago, or maybe 10 years ago. So this area here, it's kind of been left behind a little bit, but it is the historical Chinatown of Sydney. But these days, if you go to suburbs such as Burwood or Hurstville or Chatswood, you'll find so much diversity of different Asian foods. Lots of Chinese, lots of Japanese, lots of Thai. And even different sorts of those types of food as well. Okay, let's just take a quick look at what I was talking about. with the new areas. And you can kind of see why these old areas have kind of fallen back a bit. Man, there's a nasty smell coming out of that alley. So down here is where the old Sydney Entertainment Centre used to be. I'm sure many viewers from Sydney will have fond memories of seeing acts there. Well, that's been gone at least 10 years, maybe 15 years. And since then all this area has been redeveloped. And it's a little bit kind of soulless because everything is the same age. It feels almost like a shopping centre. However, there is a lot of good restaurants and that sort of thing here, so you can see why the Dixon part of Chinatown really has been struggling. And this area here, it just links up with Darling Harbour and Barangaroo, and it's just one huge entertainment precinct, I guess. So we'll continue southwards. Where shall we go now? I feel like continuing along through Haymarket, back up to perhaps Railway Square maybe. Sounds like a good idea. So we're just about to cross some light rail tracks. This is the branch I was talking about that heads off through Pyrmont and Glebe to the inner west. So just up there it turns onto an easement that used to be an actual railway goods line there. So on the right hand side here is part of University of Technology, and these are old market buildings. I think you might have seen some of the old signs, like the old advertising and stuff on the facade, and they've kind of kept the facade and built the new building. Though it's not really new, it's probably 40 years old. Here we go. So this would date from, who knows, James Slater Proprietary Limited. Let's stop here so you can see. I wonder what 𝗀cie𝗶𝗹𝗀𝗀 Proprietary Limited was. Anyway, all that's been converted into a university, or part of a university. Yeah, so we're still in Haymarket / Chinatown here. Again, these pedestrian crossings just seem to take forever. Okay, we are approaching our final destination. We're now just arriving at Railway Square. Now, you've probably noticed this building under construction directly in front of us. That is going to be the headquarters for Atlassian, which is an IT company. Don't ask me what they actually do. I've got no idea. My brother works in IT, and he tells me what he does, and I'm actually no better off understanding what he actually does. That building is interesting though, firstly because it's got such a small footprint at ground level, and I believe a lot of it is actually timber framed. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. There's clearly a steel structure inside, but I think the substructure, if you like, is timber, which is pretty unusual for a high rise. So we're back on George Street. This part of George Street here is actually called Railway Square, so it kind of George Street continues there, and then it branches off into Broadway, which eventually turns into Parramatta Road, and then eventually turns into the Great Western Highway if you keep driving. The main west road out of Sydney. So let's just take a walk down here, back onto Pitt Street, I think this is. And that tower you can see in front of us, that's Central Railway Station. So this is the main stop for the light rail at Central, as you can see on the tram itself. It's destination board 𝗙𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗀. We went through 𝗙𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗀 on my most recent long walk through West, actually. That was the walk where I started just outside Sydney Airport and walked all the way to Haberfield. Yeah, that was a long one. And then we come into Central Station itself. We'll just take a look at the platforms. I'm not sure how many platforms there are here. Oh, here we are. You can see on the sign up here. So trains go from platform 1 up to 25, and then the metro's platforms 26 and 27. So we've got 27 platforms. That's reasonably large, I suppose. So today I parked my car at Gordon on the North Shore, so I have to take, let's have a look, T9 Hornsby. No, I don't want that one. I want Hornsby via Gordon. T1 platform 16 departs in 1 minute. Well, I'm not going to make that. Then departs in 10 minutes. So we're going to go to platform 16. This section of Central Station is only a couple of years old. It's all this you see here was constructed at the same time as the metro was constructed as well. So it's all part of the one big development. So the platforms to my right here are the country trains that will take you up to Brisbane or down to Melbourne. or Dubbo out west, and also trains to Newcastle and Wollongong, and then all the suburban trains are from these platforms 16 and up to 25. And then the metro is on platforms 26 and 27, and that's down another level. And as we saw earlier today, the metro is closed.
Hello customers, and welcome to Central Station. For your safety and the safety of those around you, can we kindly ask all customers to please not leave any unattended items at any time. If you see any unattended items, please notify our friendly staff. Thank you for your understanding and have a safe trip.
Platform 16 is where we want to go.
Central Station.
16.
We'd like to kindly ask any customers travelling with prams and or luggage, please use the lifts we have at all areas of the station. Simply for your safety and the safety of those around you. If you need any assistance, it's helpful for your task and yourself. Have a safe trip.
So the country trains and the regional trains all terminate at Central Station, but the suburban trains pass through, which is why they're kind of in separate sections. Here we are. Now our train is going to approach from this direction. I don't know what those platforms across there are for. They look like they could be refurbished platforms as well. I don't know what that is. Well, dear viewers, I hope you enjoyed this walk.
Please remain behind the yellow line at all times.
Is she talking to me? Yeah, viewers, I really hope you enjoyed this walk. As I said at the beginning, this walk was by request from a channel member. I'll always try to keep my members happy. I do appreciate your support. If you like this sort of thing, please like and subscribe, and until next time, have a great day.